About the experiment 1 and experiment 2 and experiment 3. Okay, so in this we having a, in DBMS lab we having a SQL command. What we having? We having a SQL commands. Okay, so far in a DBMS subject we already discussed about that. Unit 1, unit 2, unit 3 and unit 4 is going on, right? So in this DBMS already you studied about that. What is the SQL? What is stand for SQL and right? You have a clarity on that. Now I just want to go with some briefing about that. What is known as a SQL and what are the SQL commands we have. So this is very important question in your examination also. Okay, in examination also it's very important question you have. Now basically SQL commands actually it will be divided into more than, here I am giving you the 5 points, but it will be dividing in number of number 1 I can say that DDL. What is that? DDL. So the abbreviation of DDL is nothing a data definition language or data description language, right? So in this particular DDL, okay, data description language, we having 1, 2, 3, 4. One is very important, that is I can talk discussing about the creating data definition language. What is that? It is a data definition language. In the data definition language we are going to have a 4 important commands we having. In that, number 1 is a create command. What is that? It's a create command. We want to create a database, you are going to use a create command. If you want to create a table, then you are going to use a create table, right? So after the creating a table, so you have one more command we having, that is a drop or a delete. Okay, you have a drop command, means if you want to delete any of the existing table, you can use the drop command, you can able to delete that one. Or if you having a database with you and if you want to delete entire database, you can use drop command and you can able to drop it entire database in your database management system, right? So like that you having alter and we having truncate. Where we are going to use alter here? So there is a one table we created. Okay, what is the table name? We having a something like that. We created one table. In that I given as a city. Okay, in that I given one attribute name is city. Now I want to change that attribute name city to address. I want to change that attribute name city to address. How can I do that? Using this alter command, you can able to change that attribute name from city to address. Not only attribute name. So you know that whenever you are creating a database tables, you are going to be allocating column, attribute name, attribute type and attribute size. Yes or no? Suppose for example I want to create one table, in that I am having a rule number. Okay, I am having a rule number. So what I am doing here, I have a rule number, then I want to say that it is an integer. What is the data type? It is a integer and I want to assign some size for them. Okay, so like this, when I am defining creating any table, I am using some creating table command. I am going to creating some attributes. Then while I am creating a table, I am going to assign what the data type it is and I am going to be assigning them what the data type size also. Now I have done that, I am created one table. So far it's so far good. Now I want to change that. Here is my data type is integer. Here is my data type is integer. I want to change that integer into varchar. Okay, how can I do that? Using this alter command. If I am having a data type is 10, I want to change this 10 to 25. How can I do that? Using a alter command. Means, and not only that, if you want to add any of the column or if you want to add any of the attribute in your created table, మనం ఏదైతే ఒక టేబుల్ క్రియేట్ చేసామో దాంట్లో if you want to add any of the new column, we can able to add using alter table. The same way in drop command also, if you want to remove any of the column, we can able to remove that. And if you want to change anything, we can. Okay, so this is about the data definition language we have. This we can call them as a DDL. Now, what is that? DCL, data control language. What is this? Data control language. So the meaning of the DCL itself we having. We are going to controlling the data. We want to control. How we can do that? So suppose you are one programmer. You are a programmer. Now you need to have accessing of a database. Yes or no? Anybody can access any of the data? No, it won't be. Anybody can not be access any of the data. If you are database administrator, come in. Any of it database administrator can wait for 5 minutes. So here what we'll do in this DCL, what we are going to do in DCL, that the Dbms is there like this. We having one Dbms is there. Okay, in that Dbms, suppose there is a CSM, there the CSM database DB is there. Okay, what is this? CSM DB is there. Now someone want to access, some programmer, some person want to access the particular database. Then Dbms administrator have to give the permission. CSM and DB ఏదైతే ఉందో దానికి database administrator ఎవరైతే ఉంటారో they have to give the permission. So using the DCL control, data control language use చేసుకొని they have to give the grant and revoke. Grant ante they have to give the permission to access the database. Once you having access, then you can able to access the database and you can able to see all the data tables, all those things. Until unless not giving any permission, it's not possible. Anybody can come into the database and accessing the data. Is it okay? It will be going like that? No. Is it possible everybody can access any of the bank account details? No, no. That's the same thing here also be. So any of the database is there, there may be some restrictions are there. So you want to access that, you need to get a permission. You need, so once we having a permission, we given a grant permission. Now I don't want to give any permissions to you. Now I want to stop everything. Now what I'll do? I just take it with the permission, revoking that, removing the permission. Now you are no more accessing about that. You are no more accessing about the databases. So this is about the DCL. Then what is the DML? Data manipulation language. What is that data manipulation language? What we having? Insert. Now I'm not talking anything inserting here. Only thing I'm talking about the creating. Data ni ఎలా define చేయాలన్నది మనం మాట్లాడుతున్నాం DDL అని. Okay. Now in DML, what I'm talking here? Data manipulation language. Here I'm talking about that inserting, updating and deleting of the record. Here I'm talking about the dropping of entire created table. Here and DML, I'm talking about the creating, deleting of individual records, inserting of individual records, updating of individual records. Okay. So please try to understand the difference between DDL and data manipulation language. So data manipulation language, what is the meaning of that? Data manipulation language. In that, what we can do? You can able to insert the data. What we can do? We can able to insert the data. So please understood that this is a DDL. You have to create, alter, drop and truncate. Okay. And DCL you having grant and revoke. And DML, what we having? We having insert and we having update and delete. Please try to understood that simply. Okay. And what is the TCL? Transaction Control Language. This is also very important. What exactly known as the TCL? All about that. Might be you are saying that every day. Every day. మనం చూసే ఉంటాం కదా. What is the meaning of commit and what is the meaning of rollback and what is the meaning of save point? What is the meaning of commit here? ఇక్కడ ఉన్న వాళ్ళు ఎవరైనా someone having doing a phone pay amount pay చేశారు అనుకుందామంట. చేసిన తర్వాత you are going to receive one message. Successfully you are done that. అంటే ఎప్పుడైతే సక్సెస్ఫుల్ బిల్ డన్ అని మనకు వచ్చింది అంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటంటే డేటాబేస్లోని అది ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కంప్లీట్ అవ్వగానే అది కమిట్ అయిపోతుంది అన్నమాట. వెన్ ఐఎమ్ సేయింగ్ దట్ డేటాబేస్ ఇస్ కమిటెడ్ దట్ ద ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ ఇస్ ఎండెడ్. అంటే ప్రతి ట్రాన్సాక్షన్కి కూడా మనకి ఏంటంటే ఒక స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ అండ్ ఒక ఎండింగ్ పాయింట్ ఉంటుందండి. అన్న కదా ఎవ్రీ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అంతే కదా. వాట్ ఎవర్ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ వీఆర్ టాకింగ్ హియర్, any of the transactions are having starting point and ending point. Okay? సో స్టార్టింగ్ పాయింట్ నుండి ఎండ్ పాయింట్ రీచ్ అయిన తర్వాత అది కమిట్ అయితే ఆ ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అక్కడితో క్లోజ్ అయిపోతుంది. అంతే కదా? ఐమ్ రైట్ ఆర్ రాంగ్? సో ఒక టికెట్ బుక్ చేయడానికి మనం ఓపెన్ చేసాం అనుకోండి, సో ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ మొదలైనట్టు. అది నువ్వు పేమెంట్ చేసి నీకు టికెట్ నెంబర్లు అంతా వచ్చిందంటే దాని అర్థం ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయింది. సో కంప్లీట్ అయిపోయిందంటే దాని అర్థం ఏంటంటే కమిట్ అయిపోయింది అనమాట. సో ట్రాన్సాక్షన్ అనేది until unless is not going to be committed. So a transaction is ongoing and process. So once a transaction is committed, then we have to say that the transaction is committed. We are going to say that transaction is committed. When the transactions are committed, then we don't have any issues there. Then we don't have any issues. Then what happens? Sometimes what happens? You have a networking issues, or you having another problem.